Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Accelerate Lagos. Of course, the program is a weekly digest of how best to take your business to the next level in Lagos. Apparently, the show is brought to you courtesy the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. And today on the show, we shall be delving into smart money tips for small businesses. I have with me in the studio Taiwo Baruwa, a strategic finance expert and business advisor. She's going to be dissecting all of those or demystifying all of those things that has been a source of concern for you in managing your small business. Good morning to you, Taiwo.
Good morning, Taiwo. Good morning, listeners. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
All right, then. So let's get down to business. Tell me about smart financial management and why it's crucial for small businesses.
All right. So when we talk about smart financial management, we're talking about laying the proper foundation for your businesses, such that you can, by the time your business is expanding, by the time you are growing, there is a proper foundation to build on. So we'll be looking at things around having the proper structures in place, such as you have your personal finance and your business finance being separated. You have proper cash flow management. You are keeping your records, right? You are managing your risk as well. Things around, you have the proper insurance covers for your operations. That's very key. You have the necessary financial knowledge, as well as business owners. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I don't know much about numbers and all that." You just have to get interest in that. So all those are the foundation we're talking about. Those are smart. Those are part of the smart financial management strategies a business owner wants to lay so early in your business. So you build that strong foundation for sustainable growth. Yeah.
You just mentioned that you need to have, you really need to identify with, the numbers. I mean, you said that some people will tell you, oh, they don't know this, they don't know that.
Yeah.
But then you really need to key into this. What if I choose not to? I just want to make the money and spend the money.
Oh, okay. So it's just like you are in a car and you are driving, you are not interested in a dashboard. So you don't know your fuel level, you don't know...
as long as the car is moving.
So definitely one day you just see that the car will just stop, right?
Yeah.
Or you see, for example, in Lagos, we have cameras all around, and there are certain speed limits,
sure.
Right? So you just see one day you go to renew your papers and then they fine you, right? So when you don't pay attention to your numbers, you are walking blindly. You are just in an inactivity, right? So just the way doctors will tell you, know your numbers,
Okay.
your blood pressure, your vitals, right?
Yes.
It's also critical for businesses to know how you're doing. What's your profit like? You have a lot of small businesses, they are just in activity. When they just see revenue, that's all they see. Meanwhile, you can have a lot of revenue and yet you make a loss, right? So there's a difference between revenue and profit, right? So those are the kind of literacy you want to have. And these days the knowledge is everywhere. You could engage all these AI tools. There are free webinars everywhere. LSETF is one amidst other organizations that offer all these business support services. So there are a lot of knowledge out there for business owners to leverage on. You understand, to have a proper to set the proper structure in place for their business.
So what are the basics I should even know in knowing my numbers in business?
Okay, you want to know, for example, first of all, you want to ensure that, number one, your business finance is separated from your personal finance. So you don't come to your business, so that means you have an account, a separate account for your business as well as for your own personal expenses. So you want to pay for your house rent, you want to buy personal things, you want to buy Ashoebi, for example. You don't just take that from your business account. So you separate that. That's very important, so that you can track how much am I making in that in my business? How much am I spending? So it's very, very important. Then you also ensure that you are able to, as you are able to track those numbers, you get support document, you get source document. As you are making payments here and there, have the proper narration. Let's say purchase of fuel, right? Purchase payment for security. You just don't just transfer, and you are now trying to recollect what's this payment meant for. So when you name it, you have the proper narration for all your expenses. You are able to, at the end of the month, you are able to put together how much have I spent on call, how much have I spent on fuel, how much have I spent on light. And when you see those numbers, the numbers are speaking. You can make decisions that, okay, do I need to have solar energy, right? Instead of being on band A, right? You know how much band A is, sure, definitely. Sure. So when you are able to track all those, right, you are able to make informed decisions. Right, then you can also embrace, you can leverage on financial advisors, people who can help out. They also have a lot of, even banks nowadays, they have SME desk, right? There are a lot of communities out there you can join as well to take advantage of all the initiatives they have set up to support SMEs. So those are some of the things you can put in. Have a budget also. Have a budget. So as a business owner, so say 2025, this is what we are working towards. It kinds of guides you. It guides what you're doing. Then you have your expenses as well. Have a budget. How much do you plan to spend on light? How much do you plan to spend on rent? Then, let's say on a monthly basis, you want to compare your budget to the actual numbers. And then, as you are seeing the variances, you are able to, go and find out what's going on, and then make corrective actions quickly. So those are some of the foundations you want to lay as much as possible, because by the time your business is getting to a place where you need investors and all those things, they want to see all those structure in place. Investors, they are not Father Christmas that just dish out money, right? They want comfort that this money that I'm giving you is going to come back, right? So how do you demonstrate that comfort? It's through these structures. You also have, for example, part of laying the foundation is that you pay yourself a salary. After all, you are giving your time to that business, right? You are also a part of the human resource of that business. Then pay yourself a salary. That's one of a tidy way to take money out of your business. Pay yourself a salary. Then when you give loans to your business, you can also charge interest, right? Then when we say salary now, reasonable salary, right? You need to understand the stage of your business, right? So you don't, maybe when your business is at an early stage, let's say maybe there's a minimum amount you can take. Then as the business is growing, then you can review that. Yes. In fact, you can even have an employment letter for yourself. Yes, have an employment letter for your staff. Have a payroll. Have processes. Just put those structures in place. That's a proper foundation to lay. When you are expanding, when you want to access credit and they say, oh, give us your financials, they are readily available. Instead of you struggling, you're even trying to bring the numbers together. You're looking for receipts to gather. You can't find any, right? So keep your source document also. It's very important. When source document are things like your receipts, your invoices. Yes. So anytime you are making business transactions, learn to get your source document, your support document, your invoice, agreements. People want to give you loan or whatever, friends and family, draft an agreement. So those are structures that could help small business owners, to manage their finances better.
In putting all of these structure in place, what are some common mistakes that entrepreneurs can actually make?
Okay. Like I said before, it's mixing. One of the major one, number one, is mixing personal finance with your business finance. Okay. So when, for example, when you want to access funding, part of what they want to see is your track record. You want to see your business history. So where you have modeled everything together, right? We can't really, it won't show the true picture of your business. Sure. So mixing those two is part of the mistake people do. So you want to open a separate account for your business as well as for your personal expense. So mixing it together is one of the mistakes that business owners make. Another mistake is they ignore financial literacy, right? They ignore financial literacy and then they enter into maybe agreement they should not have entered into because they don't understand the terms, the requirements. You go and take loan and the person they borrow from wants the repayment very early. Meanwhile, the nature of your business, you need someone that is patient for the business to grow a bit, right? So those are taking on debt too early, and the debt that is not even appropriate for your kind of business is another. Then lack of cash flow management. You want to see cash is king, right? Cash is the lifeblood of a business. So you want to monitor your cash levels. You want to be able to forecast your inflow and your outflow over a certain period, maybe 6 months, 3 months, 1 year. And when you do that, it will reveal to you the different situation you will usually have during the year. For example, maybe you are going to have cash deficit at some point during the year, and you can start planning ahead. So if in September this cash flow is showing us that we'll be in a deficit position, how can we access fund to cater for our operations that month? And in months where you are also having excess cash, that you are forecasting that you have excess cash, you can look at what investments can we do, right? Instead of putting our money, just leaving it idle. So we want that money to work and also yield other income for us. So those are some of the then another thing is that you are underestimating, business owners underestimate expenses because they don't keep proper records. They don't capture all the relevant expenses, and then it will result in poor pricing. They don't price well, and when they don't price well, it will result in loss. Do you understand? So that's also part of then lack of risk management. You have a lot of shop owners that have a lot of inventory in their store, and yet there's no cover. There's no form of control to safeguard those assets. There's no insurance cover. Let's say fire insurance, burglary insurance. I know we are we are very religious in this part of the
God
world.
Forbid.
But then God forbid, exactly. But wisdom is profitable to direct. And this is just a small fraction you will pay. You have for some business owners, you have your goods moving everywhere across different states, and there's no goods in transit insurance, right? We've heard of cases of markets getting burnt, right? And you see shop owners lamenting, and some of them go to ground zero, nothing to fall back on, right? It's very important that business owners pay attention to some of those issues. So lack of risk management also is one of the major issue. Lack of budget. There's really nothing you're working towards. Not keeping proper records, neglecting financial records. You are just working blindly. You don't know how you are doing. So those are some of the mistakes that business owners do make.
All right, Lagos, Nigeria. The program is Accelerate Lagos here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Today on the show, we are talking smart money tips for small businesses. If you're wondering who I have been speaking with, I have Temitayo Oguntari, a strategic finance expert and a business advisor, with me on the program. Should you have any question for her, you can put a call through quickly. Let's remind you of what the roads are saying at this time. Well, the early reported impediment at Koshofe inward K2 is now off the road, so please, you have better movement within that area. Also, let's tell you that within Alausa, it is busy on Obafemi Awolowo Way from Ikeja City Mall inward, Coca-Cola, Radio and Allen. And this is occasioned by high influx in the early morning rush coupled with alternation at Allen. From Balogun, Olowu, Ikeja underneath the bridge, you have very good movement. It's smooth on the return journey while it's slightly busy approaching Allen intersection and Radio. Other areas within the zone, talking about the likes of Mobolaji Johnson Avenue, Adeni Jones, Latif Jakonde, the stretch of Dr. Nuruddin Oluokoko, you have all of these areas looking good. All right, let's move on now. Temitayo, funding plays a major role in helping businesses grow, but many entrepreneurs still struggle both with access and management of funds. What should business owners keep in mind before taking a loan or seeking external funding?
All right, so funding, when you are thinking about funding as a business owner, you need to ensure that you put your house in order. Investors are not, they are not Father Christmas, right? They are parting with something, and they want to have some level of comfort that this money that I'm parting with is going to come back. Come back in both the principal and then the interest that you earn on it. So before you start thinking about funding, check, do you have the proper structures in place? These things you have talked about, right? If they ask you, what has been your sales in the last 3 years? Will you be able to answer? If they say, what's your profit margin? Do you understand? All those questions are what they ask. So you have to have it readily available. So you need to ensure that you have the proper structures in place first. Then you need to know, how much do I even need? How much do I need? Then what do I want to use it for? Right? So if you are saying, oh, I need 10 million.
Yes.
You need to be able to say, I want to use it for ABC. And this is what we are looking at. This is what we are working towards. We want to expand. We presently have one store. We want to move to, maybe you are just operating on the mainland. We want to have another store on the island, right? We need to set up and all that. You need to be able to explain what you have done before. They want to know your business history. Because, you know, a number of people, maybe they see SMEs as high risk, right? And you want to focus on it, so de-risk yourself, your business. De-risk your business in terms of putting your structures in place, knowing your numbers, knowing your history, being able to tell your business story, what you have done before. You don't just tell them, by mouth. You want to show evidence. There's a saying that in God we trust, every other person bring data. Right? So they want to see the data. The numbers we usually speak, so they want to see all that. So you need to know, how much do I need, right? How much do I need? Then what do I want to use it for? It's very important. Then what kind of investors, right? What kind of investors do I, or donor do I engage at this point in time? For example, presently, the interest rates are high. If you go to commercial bank, that may not be visible for you as a small business owner. You want to look at other options. There are grants out there, right? You can borrow from family and friends, right? There are different options. There are bank loans. There's also crowdfunding. There are angel investors, right, that invest in early startups. You also have all the incubators, accelerator programs. There are a lot of small business finance, even LSETF also, they do that. They offer small loans at reasonable rates to businesses, right? So, but to assess all that, so I think the funding is not majorly the problem. The problem is we should stop anyhowness in the way we run our business. Permit me to use that word.
Anyhowness.
Yes, anyhowness. Just doing things anyhow, and start building the right structures, right? Start doing the right thing. Begin to put your documentation should be intact. You employ people, give them employment letters, have a payroll, have your bank statement, have your contract agreement. You are renting a shop, make sure you get agreement from that landlord, right? You want to borrow loan from a family member, sign an agreement. Even for you yourself, I said you can have your employment letter that is duly signed, right? One thing that there's a process that investors do conduct at times, for some big organizations, if you want to do maybe merger and acquisition, or they want to invest, they do due diligence. And with due diligence, they check into all your processes, including your finances. So at that small level also, you want to ensure you have all that in, because when all these grants and the loans that we are talking about, they are requirements. You don't just walk there and say, oh, I need loan. It's like going to one of the commercial banks and say, I need loan. They will give you a list. They want to see your history. Give us your 3-year bank statement. They will sit down and check, how much have you made? So all those things is what I think a small business now should focus on. Ensure you have all those in place. So once that is sorted, then let's now see, how much do I need? What is my plan? What do I need funding for? How much do I need? Then it then guides us to, what kind of investor do I go for? You don't want to go for an investor that they want quick returns. Meanwhile, for you to pay back, it will still take a while. So those are some of the considerations you want to look at as much as possible. Then you can either do loan or equity. Equity means that you have another person that will take a portion of ownership in your business,
like a partnership.
You could be like a partnership, but this one means that you are both owners. So you have maybe before you used to have 100%, but this person now has funds. You want to invest, so now you now have 50%, right, in that business. The other person now that is coming in now has 50%. So that means you are now answerable to other people.
Let's quickly take this call.
Right.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, can you hear me?
Hello.
All right, please, if you're not, just try one more time. You can as well just drop the report on the WhatsApp platform. We'll take it up from there. Sorry, Temitayo, you can continue with your line of thoughts.
Okay, so I was saying that you need to ask yourself in assessing what kind of funding do you go for. Am I ready to be answerable to third parties? Because when people are investing in your business, whether by loan or equity, you need to give them, you need to communicate. They want to know how you doing, right? How you doing? What your quarterly report, for example, your annual report. How is the business doing? So maybe before now, you just do everything by yourself. You are not answerable to anybody. So you need to know at that point of saying, I want to look for investors, you start saying, okay, am I ready to be accountable? That's the word. Am I ready to be accountable? Right? People we ask, tax people we ask for your numbers, banks we ask, investors we ask, So there are a lot of stakeholders that are involved. So those are some of the things you want to consider before you now say, okay, this is the right funding for me. Then depending on the stage of your business also, you don't want to start early on, maybe at a very, very early stage, you're just starting out, want to start with a bank loan. Usually people start with their personal, that's one of the major personal savings, right? Personal savings as well is one of the funding. Then another one is to reinvest your profit. So it's not every profit you make maybe this month you made a profit of, let's say, 10 million and you just squander everything. You want to reinvest that money into your business again for expansion and all that. So those are some of the considerations when it comes to funding for small businesses.
Let me take it from one of those last things you mentioned now. At what stage should a small business, consider a financial assistant or even a financial advisor, as it were?
Okay, I'll say that at the startup stage, when you are setting out, it's good to have some form of financial advisory so that you can set up the structures properly.
Okay.
Right? So the knowledge is everywhere now. So really, there's no excuse to be making mistakes anymore. Right? So at that early stage, people can guide you to say, okay, do this. They tell you the kind of proper structures to have in place, and then you can start. So it allows you to have that proper foundation. So at the early stage, don't ignore financial advisory, right? However small it is, try and get it so that you can put those structures in place. Then as you grow as well, right? You want to make expansion, you want to expand your business. It's also good to seek out for knowledge, right? Seek out for financial advice. There are certain structures that you might want to adopt that would increase your cost more, right? You can do it better. So it's best also that at that point when you want to expand, it's good to consider financial advice. Then when you're having financial management issues, you're having financial issues within the business, you are struggling, right? You can bring in financial advisors to look at what are the options available to get out of that situation. Instead of just struggling, you can reach out to people that can advise as well. Then when you want to make major investment, or you want to go through maybe a merger or acquisition, or somebody want to invest in your business, then also seek financial advice so that you understand the terms. You understand the terms, what's everything in the the documents available, so that for proper understanding the implications of what you are going into. So I think for me it's important at every stage of the business, right? And now you have different there are people that offer all these services. There are SME desk in most of the banks that also support businesses. So I think those are some of the things that business owners can leverage.
All right. As a volunteer with LSCTF, how would you describe the role that organizations play in equipping entrepreneurs with a smarter financial habit and skills?
Yeah, so organizations like LSCTF and organizations that offer this kind of service, actually they play a crucial role. You know that MSMEs are very vital for economic development. You can't ignore them. They are the highest employer of labor. Yes. So you can't ignore them, and the role they are playing, will help to strengthen and ensure sustainability of the businesses. And for LSCTF, for example, there's access to funding, there's training and workshops, right?
Yes.
There's networking events. At those networking events, you meet investors, you meet your peers as well. You get to be informed about a lot of opportunities out there. there are grants out there, there are opportunities. So if you just stay somewhere and you are not leveraging all this, you just be struggling, right? So those are some of the things that there's also mentorship and advisory. There are mentorship sessions that LSETF offers. So they assign youth with experts who also give their time to support businesses. So they are playing a very vital role, and we want to see more of this, right? More organizations even come up to do this so that we can have economic development, particularly in our country. So what they are doing is very commendable, and I would advise business owners to take advantage. For example, they have a YouTube channel where they have considered different workshops and webinars on different areas of the business, marketing, branding, all sorts, right? So people want to take advantage of those and listen to it. So when we know better, we can do better.
All right, well, we know better, we can do better. All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. I have been speaking with the Taiwo Baruwa, a strategic finance expert and a business advisor. Again, let's remind you that the roads are looking a lot better now. The peak period is over. So you have free movement in and around the metropolis, aside areas where we have impediment. I would like to know the latest as regards the Lekki corridor. Okay, so please let me know what's going on within that area. Control room, can you please beam your searchlight within that area? Let's know. It's been on the very high side. The Ikoyi, Victoria Island part of Lagos has been really busy for the better part of this morning. So I would like to know the latest as regards that area. Nuruddin, Dr. Kessentin Adeleye, please help me find out what's going on within that area. All right, then, as we take this home this morning, let's look at, the smart money advice a business owner should be getting. Okay, before we get to that point, now, you mentioned something earlier that you should know your numbers in the business that you're running. Does it mean that as a young lady or a lady or a woman out there, I have an idea of what to do, but I do not even have startup capital at all? Does it mean that I cannot get financial assistance?
Of course you can get. And you call that, when I was saying some of the sources of funding, you have your personal savings, then you have family and friends.
Okay.
So once you have a viable idea, you can put it together, have a proposal, you can meet with people who are close to you and sell that idea to them. That this is what I want to do. I've done this research. These are my findings, and this is what I want to. This is how much I will need, and this amount I will need. This is what I want to use it for. A lot of times people just walk up to your brother or sister, say, hey, help me. There's no data. Do you understand? No data. I think
when you say no data, how do you mean?
So what? Okay, when you're coming to me and say, I want to set up this business, for example. Okay, if you have two people, someone is saying, oh, auntie, help me, I need 2 million, help me. You have the second person said, help me, this is the business I want to do. I've done my research. I'm able to make this. These are similar people doing it. Right? This is how I want to sell. These are the customers I'm looking at. These are the locations I'm looking at. Do you understand? Who do you feel comfortable with? The other person, right? So that's just what I'm saying. Yeah. To say that
your facts and figures.
Yes, facts and figures. Right? I was reading something on Facebook. Was it last week? And it's quite funny, where a woman was saying that she wants to start a business, and the husband said she should submit a proposal. That she has done that, and the husband said she should come and present to him. I said, guys, please pray for me that it goes well. That's fantastic. You understand? You have a lot of, for example, women that they just given capital over and over and over, even men, right? And you can't trace the capital, both the capital and everything. You can't trace it.
Once the law is gone.
Yes. So I think that is why you need to know your revenue. Okay. When we say your revenue, your expenses, your profits, then you need to know, what does my business own? Your assets. What do I own in this business? I have a table, I have a bicycle, I have a laptop. The things that business own, have a list, because some people just have things here and there. They cannot even. You need to have a list of your assets as a business. Who are the people owing you? Do you know some people, they are owing them, they don't even know.
What is the relationship between my asset in my shop? What is the nexus? there, the asset in my shop and the service or the products I sell.
Okay, so those assets, how did you buy them? Remember that it was from the capital that
Okay.
somebody gave you that you used to buy them.
Okay.
So you need to monitor it. So what if they steal it? You don't know. You don't even have a record. But when we say you have a shop, you have a list of every item, all the assets that you have, you are able to trace it. So if anything is missing, right, you can quickly spot it. But you don't even know. You don't know where is it? Okay, we bought one chair. It's now
But if it
6.
gets missing, you can buy another one.
Oh, so that money that you want to use to buy another one, you can use this for another thing. So you need to know your asset. Then you need to know who are the people owing you. Do you understand? You need to know who are the people owing you. Some people, they've sold here, yet they can't trace. They don't have that record. Some people, if you don't remind them or whatever, they will just feel maybe you dash them the money. You need to also know the people that you are owing. Your liabilities, do you understand? Your vendor, so that you want to pay in good time to maintain your credit worthiness. But if you don't keep track of that record, you will not know that, I'm supposed to pay this person. Money will just come in, you use it for another thing entirely. So you need to know your liabilities. That's very, very important as well. Right?
All right then. Okay, so what smart money advice would you give to small business owners trying to stay afloat and grow in today's economy, and how can listeners reach you?
All right, so I would say number one, diversify your revenue streams. So with that, I'm saying don't just focus on just one product alone, one thing alone, right? You can make money through, so understand the value chain of your business. That's all the activities that it takes from producing to delivering service to your customer, and see different areas in that value chain where you can leverage to earn more revenue. I give an example. If you're a baker, you bake cakes and all that. So apart from baking cake, what else can you do? You can have a shop where you start selling the flour, right? The ingredients.
Absolutely.
You can have a training program. You can have courses and sell courses. You can do trainings. So you need to know that you need to diversify your revenue streams, particularly when you operate in a volatile economy like ours, that there are a lot of unpredictability and all that. So you don't want to focus on just one revenue stream. So understand the activities on your value chain and let it guide you on areas of opportunities where you can still play and have other revenue sources. That's number one. I would say have a budget. Like I said, have a budget. Budget is just an outline of your projected income and expenses. Also ensure that you embrace networking. It's very important. It's very vital. So it opens you up to opportunities out there. A lot of information out there. A lot of foundation giving grants. Grants are money that you don't really repay. You don't repay back. But then for you to qualify for it, you have to meet certain requirements. So for you to have access to those knowledge, you have to belong in those communities. So learn collaboration. There's a saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Right? So look for communities that you can leverage the support that they provide. It's very, very vital. Embrace mentoring, right? Embrace mentoring. Learn from people who have, gone through that path before. Don't just, you can leverage other people's experience. Experience is the best teacher. It does not necessarily have to be your own, right? You can leverage other people's experience. So embrace mentoring as much as possible. Structure your business, seek knowledge, cut down on necessary costs, right? And I've said it before, separate your personal finance with your business and then monitor your cash flow. Like I said, if you have a vehicle and the fuel gauge is not working, you just see that, imagine you're on third mainland and the vehicle just stops in the middle of third mainland, right? You will struggle that day. You are destabilized simply because you cannot see the dashboard. So you need to, at every point in time, forecast 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, the cash that I have, how far can it go? Do you understand? So when you see that, you can only carry me for the next 3 months, I'll start thinking, how can I raise capital? So those are very, very vital for business owners. Seek financial advice. I think that a lot of small businesses, we underrate financial advice. We are looking for people that will do it for free most of the time, right? Fine, there are initiatives like this, but there are also parts of it that you might need to get people and pay for. So please embrace that, put it in your budget for financial support and all that. So it's very, very important. So I think those are some of the things I will.
All right then, for those listening to us at this time and someone, who have had to, save something up to seek financial advice from Temitayo, how can you be reached?
Yeah, you can reach me via my email. My email is temi.oguntade@gmail. Temi is TMY.
Okay.
Then on LinkedIn as well, Temitayo Oguntade. Likewise on Facebook, Temitayo Oguntade.
All right, then we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Temitayo
Thank you,
Oguntade,
Taiwo.
a strategic finance expert and business advisor. Today, we have discussed smart money tips for small businesses here in Lagos. And this is where we wrap it up on today's edition of Accelerate Lagos. Remember, this program is brought to you courtesy Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, LSCTF. The program makes a return next week, Wednesday at 10:15. Massive thanks to Oluremi Aluko, the social media manager for this morning. Special thanks to Victor Terry. Our executive producer is Tayo Akonli, and I remain Taiwo Baruwa. Enjoy the rest of your day. Abego, they drive JJ on top.